If you've spent any time online lately, you know that the world of financial advice can feel like a total minefield, right? It's noisy, it's confusing, and it seems like everyone is promising some kind of shortcut to wealth. Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut right through all of that noise. We'll show you how to spot the traps and, more importantly, reveal why the real path to financial security is often the one nobody's really shouting about.
And this quote just captures it perfectly. You can't scroll through social media for more than a few minutes without being bombarded by these self-proclaimed gurus. They are everywhere. And their message? It's always the same simple, intoxicating promise. I've got the secret, and you can have it too. For a price, of course. And if you look closely, you start to see they're all reading from the exact same playbook. It always starts with those flashy screenshots of huge profits, right? Then come the bold claims of life-changing returns. And then the invitation to some exclusive group. What's really scary now, though, is how they're using AI to clone the voices and faces of legitimate experts, which makes it harder than ever to tell who's real. And that free advice they're offering? Oh, that's just the bait for a very, very expensive trap. So yeah, this brings us to our first major challenge, what we're calling the guru problem. We're not just talking about some bad advice here and there. We're talking about modern-day snake oil salesmen who have basically weaponized social media to sell financial fantasies. And behind all those flashy promises, the reality is, well, it's often devastating. For countless people, this isn't a path to wealth at all. It's a direct route to financial ruin. And the worst part is, the people who get hurt the most are often the ones who could least afford to lose that money in the first place. Okay, so if the risks are so incredibly high and the results are often so terrible, why do people keep falling for it? That question brings us to our second section, where we're going to dig into the psychology of the trap itself. It's a really important question, isn't it? Why do so many of us, even smart, careful people, get drawn into these things? What's the psychological hook that makes these promises that just seem too good to be true feel so compelling? And here it is. This is the absolute heart of the issue. The trap works because it preys on a really fundamental misconception. This belief that investing is some kind of magic. People aren't buying a financial strategy. They think they're buying a secret password, a magic ticket to getting rich overnight. And that mindset isn't just wrong, it's incredibly dangerous. So if investing isn't about finding a magic ticket, then what is it really for? Well, our third section reframes the entire goal. It's not about chasing some jackpot. It's about fighting a silent battle against a force that is constantly eating away at your savings. And that force is inflation. And this is such a crucial mindset shift. The main goal of investing isn't really offense. It's not about trying to score big. It's defense. It's about preserving the wealth you've already worked so hard for by protecting it from that silent, invisible threat that's chipping away at its value day after day. Okay, but how do we make this invisible threat feel, well, real? There's a really cool mental shortcut called the Rule of 72, and it's a shockingly simple way to figure out just how fast inflation is silently eating up your cash. Let's just use a simple, pretty realistic number. Imagine an average annual inflation rate of, say, 5%. So on average, stuff gets about 5% more expensive every single year. Okay, now we use the rule. You just take the number 72 and divide it by that inflation rate. So 72 divided by 5 equals 14.4. Now, what on earth does that number actually mean? It means this. And this is pretty sobering. In just under 15 years, every single dollar you have just sitting in a savings account, uninvested, will only be able to buy half of what it can buy today. That is the real cost of doing nothing. Your money is literally losing its power, and that's why preserving it is so important. So if inflation is the enemy, what's our greatest weapon against it? Well, that brings us to section 4, the compounding secret. And this isn't some get-rich-quick trick. It is the slow, steady, and frankly unstoppable engine that builds real, lasting wealth. This slide just lays out the two opposing philosophies perfectly. On one side, you have the guru's game. It's all about fast money, secret formulas, and high-risk offense. And on the other, you have the method used by one of the most successful investors in history, Warren Buffett. Slow, transparent, patient defense. One is selling you a lottery ticket, the other is building a fortress. And Buffett's own life is just the ultimate proof of this strategy. He started young, and he was incredibly consistent. For decades, his returns were good but kind of boring. They weren't magical. The real magic, the insane exponential growth of his wealth, that didn't even really start until after he turned 65. That's the mind-bending power of a lifetime of patient compounding. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that the most powerful ingredient in the whole wealth-building formula isn't some secret knowledge or some kind of genius move. It's just time. Given enough time, even pretty modest returns can grow into an absolute fortune. Real investing is a marathon, not a sprint. And this all brings us to our final and maybe our most important section, where we're going to tie all of this together. If compounding is the engine, then this next idea, this is the steering wheel. It's about a fundamental shift in your mindset, from playing offense to playing defense. And it's the real key to success. This quote from the article just crystallizes the entire argument. Stop trying to hit home runs all the time. Instead, just start by protecting your financial base. The goal is to build a shield for your assets, protecting them from inflation and all the uncertainty that's just part of the game. So what does this actually look like in practice? It's really a simple 3-step defensive strategy. First, shift your entire mindset. Your number one job isn't to get rich overnight. It's to protect what you already have. Second, prioritize stability over those spectacular gains by managing your risk. And third, set realistic goals. You don't need to hit home runs. You just need to consistently get on base. In fact, the source suggests a target that might sound surprisingly low, especially if you're caught up in all that online guru hype. Something like 5 to 7% a year. Now, why so modest? Because a return in that range is enough to beat our 5% inflation example and actually grow your wealth, all without taking on the kind of massive, crazy risks that can wipe you out completely. It's smart, it's sustainable, and it's defensive. And it really all comes down to this final thought. The line between falling for the hype and calmly building real, sustainable wealth, it's all drawn by your perspective. If you see investing as a defensive game, a way to protect what you've earned, your actions will naturally become more patient, more deliberate, and more wise. And in the end, it is those actions that will ultimately determine your financial destiny.